one important point that a lot of people seem to miss is that, at least in the United States, student loan debt is the only type of debt that is not forgiven if you go bankrupt. That's very interesting. They keep increasing the prices. They keep increasing your ability to capital to be able to attend these universities and taking out higher and higher loans. But on the downside, or on the opposite side, if something happens, you can't get out of that. So now really what you are doing, and maybe this is just my conspiracy brain, going in active mode, but I mean, that doesn't seem like an accident, right? You take out $250,000 worth of debt to do something. You end up getting some liberal arts degree or basket weaving, underwater basket weaving or gender studies in Pakistan. And it's not going to provide for you. You're not going to be able to get a job, or, the job that you want to get probably won't even exist with robotics and AI and blockchain and yada, 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 and all of these types of things. And now there is no way out of this. Like, for me, that eerily sounds like slavery.
Yeah, it really does. And I should have mentioned this. A lot of the jobs today, the whole other dimension, and we have a whole chapter on this in the book, it wasn't something that we would even have thought of a few years ago, is the effect of AI on the job market. I mean, it's the most lucrative career that you could have gone into, not to say the most virtuous or good by any means, but certainly most lucrative would have been finance over the last couple of decades. But those entry-level finance jobs are as good as gone at this stage with AI. Even the idea of saying, you want to do something boring but secure, I'm going to be an accountant. Sorry, those jobs are gone. So you don't have to take an underwater basket weaving course to worry about being gainfully employed. You have actually as high a level of recent college graduates unemployed with degrees in chemistry today as you do in some of these like cultural studies. So and actually I saw a stat the other day that said that high school graduates are their odds of getting a job are equal now to that of people with college degrees. Like that, why are we doing this? That's the question. And yeah, whatever it is, whatever profession you decide to go into at 18, you know nothing about the world. You're choosing something. You have to choose something. You make all this investment of time and energy, and then maybe you find yourself in the first month of the job and you're like, and this is it? And what can you do at that point? Because you have these liabilities over your head, from the student loans to, rent and all these other things. You're trapped. You're trapped at that point.
So last night, actually, I had a conversation. We were interviewing an online homeschooling program that I do with my very good friend, Mikkel Strong. And he has a program called the Socratic Experience that we white labeled and called the Expat International School. And we sat down with the juniors teacher, the head of the juniors program. So it was me, my wife, my 9-year-old. We've been homeschooling her up until this point, but now we want to it's still homeschooling in that she's doing it at home, but there is now finally a curriculum. So me and my wife are speaking with him, and we're kind of explaining, like, academically, she might be a little bit behind. We have really focused on having a good mental state, being emotionally balanced, being confident, having self-worth, love, all of these types of things. Because, man, I search my brain, and I'm guessing you do as well, as a father, like, what are the skills that we're going to need to prepare our children for the future? And I believe, critical thinking and leadership and self-confidence and love and emotional stability are all going to still be valuable, even with robotics and blockchain and AI and all of these types of things. And, I'm trying to convey this to the teacher. Like, her math might not be at the highest levels right now or anything like that, but I'm quite confident that we can catch up on all those types of things because she's not a damaged child.
Right. That's half the battle, isn't it? I mean, to not screw your kids up, I think, is the most important thing, the most important obligation that a parent has. So yeah, I totally agree with that. Yeah, absolutely. And I think those other skills, they're taught at such an incredibly slow pace through the school system, actually, that if a kid if you can engage the kid correctly, or so they're seriously engaged in the learning, whether it be math or reading or whatever, they can move through it incredibly fast. It doesn't have to take them 5 years to get through this math curriculum to finally get to algebra or whatever. Like, they could do it in 12 months, no problem. It's easy to do. As soon as it was, once they have interest, once you're drawn in that way toward it, and because once they start following their curiosity, it's crazy how fast they can move things forward, frankly.